right, well, welcome everybody to Super Bowl week here in Arizona, and we got a couple of guests here on our Sports Faith podcast this afternoon. Dr. Matt Lance to my right,
yes, sir,
from the Special Forces Sports Foundation, and Ian Sephton joining us as well. Thanks for your time, guys. Thanks for joining us on the Sports Faith podcast today. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having us on.
All right, so let's get into your organization. It's a nonprofit organization. And I hear the name Special Forces Sports Foundation, and I think military right away. So my question before we came on was, former military? You said no. Ian said yes. And yes. I said, does the name have anything to do with the military? Is that how the name came to be? So let's start there if you want to talk about that story.
Sure. So the origin of the name really comes from trying to deliver a sense of strength in what we're doing, and that strength being a force. And so we say we're a force to be reckoned with when we bring these athletes and our special needs community together. And so it definitely does ring of the military, and we accept that, and two of our board members are veterans, Ian being one of them, and we're actually looking at expanding our reach into not just athletes in our special needs community, but also reaching out to veterans. And so there's the synergy is there, and the need is there, and so we're gonna dive into that.
And the organization started in 2018.
Yes.
Okay. Corona, California.
Yes, sir.
Is where you reside. So we live in Wisconsin, and I told you this before we went on the air. A great organization by the name of My Team Triumph, where they get special needs children and adults involved in races mainly. We hosted a duathlon last year, and I want to talk about the inclusion, and then you can get into exactly what your organization does. But My Team Triumph kind of reminds me a little bit about what you're doing and how you're getting special needs people involved and being included. And that's a big piece, right, for anybody with special needs. Every little thing about inclusion, talk about the importance of that and how important it is in their lives.
So the inclusiveness is huge, because it allows these individuals to, they're usually around a lot of support staff, and working with a lot of adults and adult volunteers and therapists, and that's great, and they need those therapies. But when they are able to work within their peer group, it gives them that window into this is socially acceptable behavior. This is the development that it gives them working in with their peers is just, it's huge, and that's what a lot of parents we're learning. That's what a lot of parents are looking for in experiences for their kids.
I caught some of your video in Las Vegas. I don't know what day it was, but the Special Forces Sports Day it was in Las Vegas, and
yes.
Maybe we can talk about that a little bit. But before we maybe get into that specifically, give our viewers and listeners a little bit of an overview, an example of how you may take a club volleyball team, for instance, and have them work out, and then have the special needs kids come in, right?
Sure.
And be included in a workout, for instance.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, it all starts with connecting with the local school districts, and because that's where our community is focused right now. Is they're in their schools, they're learning, they're getting the therapies that they need, and so your target is 100%. And so what we do is, with our Special Forces Sports Days, first is we invite these classes throughout the school district, high school and middle school mainly. There are some communities where we've gone down into the elementary level because we have the room and the ability to, but we pretty much focus on the middle and high school students and adult transitions. and we are able to get 100% of the schools that we reach out to, their population coming to our events because they're bused by the school. We do it during the school day, whereas after school programming is hit and miss because these kids do have after school therapies, you know, older brothers and sisters, they have their sports and things, and you know, just there's life after school that can get in the way. But when we do our events during the school day, and that's all we ask the districts to commit to, is busing their kids to the event site. Outside of that, it's a completely free event where they're working with the whole athletics department of whoever we're working with, whether it be a high school, whether it be a university. And so in doing these events and getting every kid in the area that we invite, the families get to know who we are. And then we can start planting our after-school programming and working with the clubs for after-school activities. And what we do is we will, you know, club sports and club athletes is huge right now, and you know, in a lot of ways more important than high school athletics. And so these athletes that are there are very focused on development and honing their skills to get to that next level. And so we also know that there's a benefit there for them to work with the special needs population because in that space there is a lot of competition, there is a lot of stress involved. They're always competing for their position and their place on the team. Our events, bringing these kids in, allows them to set that aside and really focus on, hey, these are the skills of my sport. I can pass this on. A lot of times when we teach something, we have to internalize it even more. So really it's a very good skill builder for them, but then also gives that compassion and empathy in working with these beautiful young people. And what we do is we don't ever want to take away from their training time either. So working with club teams, they have multiple age groups. You have from, you know, a lot of times 10U to 18U, and so we can run a 6 to 8 week after school program and use a different club team or level every week so that it's not taking away from their training time, because that is very important. That is why they're there. Right. But it gives them that experience of working with these kids. And then again, in turn, it gives our special needs community a 6 to 8 week, you know, after school activity to keep them active and to give them those inclusive opportunities.
And a big reason why this organization came to be is the fact that you're a coach and a teacher, and I read some notes in your LinkedIn profile about how you had some athletes that really had some opportunities taken away because of transportation reasons and things like that. Mm-hmm. But talk about the correlation with your coaching and teaching and how that kind of tied into this, and did it make it easier for you to maybe start this organization up because of your past coaching abilities?
Absolutely. Well, where the coaching came in is, you know, I'm a PE teacher and a football coach at a high school in Southern California, and I was given the assignment to work with our adaptive PE class probably 10 years ago now. Okay. And so, you know, in sports, we're very team related, you know, everything is team. Absolutely. And so those are my kids now. And so I'm very protective over those kids. And so when they had an opportunity taken away from them, I just found that as unacceptable. And it's not that someone was trying to take something away from them. The more and more we work throughout the country, transportation busing is a huge issue in education right now. And so it was nothing deliberate, but nonetheless, I went Papa Bear and said, no, you're not going to take this opportunity away from my kids. And so I think I can put together some programming and invite all the kids in my school district to my high school to work with my athletes. And so that's how it came to be. So being that I'm involved in the athletics department at my high school, I could then, you know, I was able to connect with all of our other coaches, our baseball, softball, soccer, swimming, you know, you name it. We got all of our programs involved, and we invited all the middle and high school all the middle and high schools in our district to our site, and we put on this field day.
I think it's important to point out that Special Forces Sports Day was really the origin story for the organization, and that at that point Matt really didn't have any ambitions to grow this thing nationally. He did it locally, and it just resonated with so many people. And then he had people coming from Colorado and Utah asking, hey, can we throw on these kind of programs? And so we never really started this thing to try and build a charity or do any. It was really just one person's mission to allow these kids to participate in sports, and it's just kind of grown organically from there. So it's been really fun to watch.
I would say, indeed. I wanted to ask you about events. Are you two normally together at events? And if so, what are each one of your roles when you're at, let's say, the Las Vegas
Well,
Sports Day?
Matt's the beauty, and I'm the brains.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
Remind my wife you said that. You're the beauty.
No, I mean, seriously, this is Matt's organization. I'm on the board. We played sports together for many years. I've known him
Okay.
since I was very young. And so I just really got involved because I liked what he was doing. I actually run a tech company, and so this is like something that I do to support him. And so I'm here basically to spread the word.
Very nice. Yeah. So you got other endeavors, but still involved, but maybe not as hands-on as what.
Yeah, Matt is definitely running the day-to-day of the organization.
Yeah, very good. So money always comes up with any organization, especially a
Absolutely.
nonprofit. We go through it. As Angel is sitting right over here, our CEO of Sports Faith, that's one of our biggest battles. Not just in our personal lives sometimes when it comes to money, but when it comes to nonprofit. Talk about those battles and how difficult it is to fund this.
Well, it is, but I believe that, as a man of faith, I believe that the Lord is opening doors for us. I feel like we're doing His work. Honestly, I was literally just a PE teacher and football coach, and there's really no reason for me to be running this, and so that tells me this is a God thing, and I'm just trying to, I pray about it daily. I'm trying to, follow where I feel like I'm being led, and He's opening doors. And so with fundraising, it is a struggle. It's a daily struggle. It's a daily concern. But I definitely have to remind myself that, the Lord's gotten me this far, and I gotta believe He has a plan for this, and the way that we've been able to grow, even through the pandemic. Not a lot of people were growing their organizations during that time. A lot of people were going out of business, and we found a way to excel, and that's certainly not due to my business sense in any way, and so with fundraising, it's a struggle. We're trying to be very creative. We're trying to, I have some great people like Ian on my board, and I have a lot of great board members that have great ideas, and we just had one of our board members runs a direct mail company, Gunderson Direct, out of the Bay Area, and he put together an amazing fundraising campaign. It was hashtag 2023 goalpost, and we kind of surrounded it around that Las Vegas event, and with the Pro Bowl happening in Las Vegas, and getting people out, and so it was goalposts. So we asked some players, and we asked some of our special needs community that work with us to post under that hashtag of 2023 goalpost, and post their goals for the new year, and talking about the importance of having goals and getting it out into the world so that can build accountability. A lot of times we make goals, and if we keep them hidden, it's a lot easier to slide on those. If you put it out into the world, then there's some accountability there, and people are going to be asking, hey, how is everything going with that? And so talking about the importance of that, and then some of the mailers that he sent out with this to build some traction and get some donations in. has been incredible. And
We're struggling though. I mean,
Yeah.
we're new to raising money and asking for money. And as somebody that's a business owner, it feels salesy, even though
Right.
we've taken $0 to pay for anyone. Like we've basically put all the money back into into the functions and into the events. There's been $0. We've tried different things, like you said, direct mail. But we're looking for ideas. So if anybody has an idea, we're open to it because this is new to us. We're not nonprofit people. He's a teacher. I'm a business owner. Like that's what we do, and this is new ground for us.
Yeah, maybe off of that, what you just mentioned, let's talk about website, how to get a hold of you gentlemen, and how to donate. Where do they go?
Absolutely. So anyone who would like to see what we're doing can go to our website, which is www.specialforcesports.com, and there's a link to donate in there. There's different levels that we offer of support, especially if there's corporate sponsors. And to contact me, it's just matt@specialforcesports.com. Mm-hmm. My information is all over the website. Yeah, we would love to connect with anyone who would like to see this programming in their area, or who has some ideas of people that we could partner with, so that we could continue to spread this programming, and with the understanding that as we grow out, and it's a real passion of mine to keep this free to the kids. And not having that, that's when we did decide to go the nonprofit route with this. It was I want there to be access. I don't want anyone to not have access to our programming because of something silly like finances,
Right.
and transportation. Honestly, that's why we're going to continue to work through school districts. I want 100% participation. The key is to get these groups of people connected, working together, and so we want to partner with some people that see that share that vision and share that passion, and who want to invest in these opportunities for these kids.
We've had a lot of success around corporate sponsorships. That's where the majority of the fundraising that we've been able to do. I mean, the $20 to $100 donation from somebody that just goes, hey, that's an awesome cause, we love it because we need it. But really the corporate sponsors, we have different levels of sponsorship. We try and promote those when we're at events. So if it's a national brand, there's some national exposure there. So yeah, the corporate sponsors, the lowest level is $2,500. That's really our focus because that's where the majority of our funds comes from.
Yeah. Well, this is why we do these type of things, though, right? We're
Yeah.
trying to spread the word a little bit. I know when I get back to Wisconsin, we're obviously going to be taking this video and spreading the word for sure. I think back in the Midwest where we live, I don't think there's any doubt that could happen. We could maybe get you some partners potentially. I talked about my team Triumph before. Very similar. They're trying to get those special needs people, trying to get them included in things because it's so important.
Absolutely.
In their growth and things of that nature. But yeah, very good. I was going to ask you about the Vegas event, but the cleats. I want to
Yes.
talk about those cleats. So talk about that. I think they were being autographed. Is that the case?
Yes, they were. They were.
Custom cleats?
Yeah. Like I said, I want to. Everything I do, I want it to be inclusive, and so I want my vision for the cleats was just. I wanted to give some kids a gift, and something I knew no one there was going to expect. The production company that came to film our event has a side of them that they made some of the custom cleats for a couple of the NFL players for the My Cleats My Cause month. And so I talked with the owner and I said, hey, it would be really cool if we branded a pair of cleats with our branding, and then with any of the guys that show up from the NFL, have them sign them, and then we'll have them sign both cleats, the right and the left, and we'll give one cleat away to an athlete and one to one of the kids with with special needs. And so yeah, it turned out fantastic. The cleats were beautiful. The kids had no idea something like that was going to happen.
Impromptu is the best, right?
100%. And you know, we during the event, our NFL partners and our volunteers that were there, they were the only ones that knew about it and said, hey, let's really try and identify, you know, 2 kids that are just, you know, exemplify what we're really doing, and just bought into the day and having a blast. And I mean, for both the athlete and the student, they were no-brainers. Everyone, you know, when the names came out, everyone was just like, oh yeah, that's perfect. That's who I was thinking of. And so again, I felt like, you know, I felt led to do that for them, and I think God really, you know, focused on the right 2 kids. And
you should speak to the players that actually signed the cleats that joined us.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean,
absolutely. So
he was there, yes.
So Javon McKinley he played at Notre Dame, and he played with the Detroit Lions, and last year with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Okay.
We had Segun Olobi, who was with the Colts this year, and his college ball was out of San Diego State University. We had Brandon McGee, who is one of our board members, a former player for the Cowboys, the Buccaneers, the Browns, and he was also in the Red Sox organization because he was a dual sport athlete at Arizona State. And then we had Robert Turbin, who is a former Super Bowl champion with the running back for the Seattle Seahawks. That's right.
That one right.
You got one.
And his alma mater is the same as mine, Utah State University. And so, you know.
Who was that?
Absolutely. So, yeah, and you know, the plan as we grow out with that is to partner with these guys, because we want to be in every, like I said, in every college town, in every NFL city. And what we want to do is we want to work with athletes who want to bring this to their university.
There's a great video of the event that they did at Utah State where you can see the interaction of just the players and the kids. It's just very dynamic. It was done by one of the local news stations there. It's on the website. So I highly recommend anyone thinking about, like, how would this event work? If you watch that video, it spells it out for you. It's really a low barrier to do these things. It's really the logistics cost of getting the kids there. And everything else is usually donated. I mean, there's local food that's donated. The players that want to participate and teach, like there's a lot of things that kind of work. Sure. The snowball starts to roll downhill.
Yeah. It's interesting. I live 5 miles from Lambeau Field. I don't know if I mentioned that.
No.
I mentioned Green Bay.
Yeah.
They have a pro football team.
They do have one there. Yeah.
Yeah. So now you're starting to make my gears turn even more. Like, man, logistically, you know, I'm pretty close to an NFL stadium. Now it's just a matter of, do you find it, when you start getting in on the pro side of things, do you find it a little bit, are there more barriers when you're starting to get pro teams, pro athletes involved in your venture versus obviously high school, college? Got to be a little easier maybe to get things rolling, so to speak?
Yes, but yes and no. So, you know, 3 of the athletes that were there in Las Vegas are former athletes of mine from my high school. So that helps.
Yeah.
Now, Robert Turbin, who was not, you know, we share our alma mater, although I'm a few years older than he is. I won't say how many, but you know, when I reached out to him because I saw all the great things that he had been doing on his own, and it was a great story. He said, you know, hey, I love this idea because my older sister actually was an individual with special needs, and so this is very near and dear to my heart. And so, in that way, no, it wasn't. It was just a conversation. Now as we go forward, we would like to try and do something with the Seahawks through him, and you know, have him kind of see. I don't need to be the figure piece of every event. You know, I would much rather work with some athletes who want to bring this to their NFL team, who want to bring it to their alma mater, and have it be kind of package it around them. And we have at my high school, we have a young man who is going to be going to Duke next year.
Wow.
He was Gatorade State Player of the Year in California last year, on his way to probably repeating. Just was named to the McDonald's All-American team a couple weeks ago. And in that, because in the world of NIL and, high school players are now making considerable amounts of money. And when this young man won the Gatorade State Player, they're given $1,000 to give to their favorite charity. And so he blessed us with that last year. And then also when you submit a video of your charity, they pick one of the 50 Gatorade State players to give $10,000 to. He also gave us that. And so, in talking with him, we said, hey, you've blessed us so much. We would love to work with you as you go on and into Duke, and we'd love to do one of these events at Duke. And he said, oh, that's fantastic. So
that'd be something.
That's on the board. And so that's how I feel we can really reach out to get to these universities and things like that, is working through the athletes, through the alumni, so that they can feel that, there's a great sense of pride that I feel having this program at Utah State University, that I, a community that gave me so much.
You're giving back.
I'm getting to give back. And so I want that for some of our athletes too, and
don't
I
forget
see
where
that
you
as
came from, right?
Exactly. Absolutely. And, and they get to leave that lasting legacy in that community, not so much what they did on the field, but, even though that's part of it, but really, giving back in a meaningful and impactful way to the community.
Yeah, I would agree. That's a big deal. And let's face it, some of these athletes, they move on to the pros. That's a very small sliver of their life. Yeah. They have other things that they want to accomplish once they're done on the playing field. And when players like that give back, I think people respect that. There's that image sometimes, I think, of pro athletes especially, that, they make all this money and they walk around like, they're better than you or I. And I think that's kind of true sometimes in certain cases.
Sure.
As our Sports Faith banner just took a crash there. But, hey, live recording sometimes, right? Stuff like that happens.
Absolutely.
But, hey, Talking Stick Resort Studio sign is still up there yet.
That's it.
By the way, what did you think of this place you walked?
This is gorgeous.
It's unbelievable.
Unbelievable. I've never seen anything quite like it.
Yeah, and this would be perfect for hosting an event because there's so many different, there's volleyball, there's basketball, soccer fields. I mean, this is exactly the type of venue you need to host one of these sports days.
Can you imagine the
I
event
can.
possibility? I'm sure you have.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
With the right promotion and the right timing and everything, in this facility, you could put an A-class venue. I mean, this would be a great place to host.
You really could. Can you imagine the athletic teams just from the Arizona area,
and
maybe beyond, high school teams? And
absolutely.
I'm not familiar with the layout here as far as the number of high schools within the certain proximity of where we are right now, but I'm sure there's plenty of opportunities, because it's not just about high schools. You mentioned middle schools as well, even elementary schools also, correct?
Absolutely.
Yep. So let's wrap up here. Any big events? What's your next one? Obviously, you're here for Super Bowl week, and you had the Las Vegas event, but what's on the agenda in the near future here?
Well, next month we will be having two days in Southern California. We'll be having one in Irvine with Westcliff University. Their athletic department actually reached out to us to do some programming, and we're pulling in the kids from Huntington Beach area.
Very nice.
And then we are going to Utah. Oh, I'm sorry. My event is 2 days later, March 23rd, at my high school. So our school district is having ours. April, we're going to do a day after day turnaround. We're going to fly to Denver. We're going to do one at Denver Unified, and then go immediately to Logan, Utah, and do our Utah State event.
Yeah. And
then in May, we'll finish up with an event in Rancho Cucamonga with school district there.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. So you have spread out. Like you said, it wasn't intended necessarily.
No.
through the grace of God and just hard work and
100%.
just word of mouth, right? Word
Yep.
of mouth marketing. You just mentioned a couple of states. So how far? I don't know if you said this before, but how far has it actually gone? So how many states have you been in?
So we California, Colorado, Utah, and Nevada, and with definitely with sites here in Arizona because we are, our board member is an alumni of ASU, and he's very, very focused
nice.
on getting
The only gating
here.
thing to growing is just the interest and the ambassadors to kind of lead each of these things outside. So Texas, Nebraska, Wisconsin, we're ready. Just call.
Yeah, and that's what we got to do.
Absolutely.
Spread the word. Say, hey, check these guys out.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, a connection happens.
Yep.
Next thing you know, you're flying to Wisconsin. Don't come in January or February. March is kind of questionable as well. We got a couple of feet of snow a few years ago in April.
Yeah.
So you may want to look at, well, you got to do it during the school year, though,
Yeah.
too, if you're going to get into the school.
Well,
September.
last year's Utah event.
Do it in the fall. We got a beautiful fall.
Last year's Utah event was actually done in the indoor practice facility, and it worked out beautiful because we were getting a fresh blanket of snow on the day. So.
Boy, I got a couple of schools that are bouncing through my head right now locally back where I live.
Great.
Ooh, big time sports schools, big schools, big football
fantastic.
programs. There's a
Perfect.
couple that
Perfect.
are right here. So I will help, and we will help. You
Wonderful.
promote that.
Thank you very
Wonderful.
much.
Thank you.
Absolutely. All right. Well, that's going to do it. Thank you so much for your time, Dr.
Absolutely.
Matt Lance. And Ian Sephton
That's right.
joining us today here on the Sports Faith Podcast from Super Bowl week in, where are we? Mesa, Arizona, correct?
Arizona.
Not too far from Arizona State, Tempe, Arizona, the Great Valley here. It's been just a pleasure bringing this interview to everybody here at the Talking Stick Resort Studio. Thanks, guys, for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, that'll do it for the Sports Faith Podcast here from Super Bowl week. And we
Man,
wrap
you
up
guys are
and have a great
pros.
day, everybody.
I wonder
Talk
where
to you
Brady
soon.
went.
We can edit that
How
out.
do you get